Hello. Alright then, let's talk reality checks. Simply put, a reality check is a test designed to ascertain what reality you're presently in, dream reality or waking reality. There are two types of reality checks, the physical kind, checking your hands for anomalies being one example of this, and the mental kind. Where am I? Do I know this place? Where was I 2 hours ago? Is there cohesive flow from that past moment to now? By asking yourself these questions enough in the waking world, you form a habit that will eventually transition over into the dream world with you. And when in that reality, performing a reality check should trigger lucidity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fingers. Okay, stay calm. I'm dreaming. Oh yeah. But unfortunately, it's not always as simple as that. For example, if you haven't been practicing properly, then a reality check performed in the dream world can still yield waking world results. And some people simply struggle to get the reality checks to transition over into the dream world in the first place. If you're stuck in this situation, don't feel too down, because once again, I am here to help. Here are the top 5 ways to make reality checks work. In at number 5, we have be thorough, as in don't be flippant. Inspect and attempt to rationalise every last detail. A common problem is that people just don't commit fully enough to reality checks. In other words, they just don't take them seriously enough. Am I dreaming? Am I fuck? This is not the way to perform a reality check. If you're just going through the motions without a second thought, you won't get anywhere. Instead, you should be slow, methodical, meticulous, all the while genuinely doubting your reality. Inspect the details, give time to the subtleties, test yourself, ask yourself challenging questions. For example, I sometimes perform a hand check whilst lying outside at night. Each time I supplement the physical check with a mental check like, why am I struggling to see my hands right now? And inside my mind, I'd answer along the lines of, I'm struggling to see my hands right now because I'm outside and it's nighttime. At that point, I'd evolve the check. Might see if I can put my finger through my hand or something like that. After that, I might look around, probing, asking questions like, where am I? Who am I? What am I experiencing right now? Does this seem absurd in any way? So take your time and be thorough. In at number 4, we have do follow-ups, as in, don't be content with just one reality check. If you make sure to always be thorough, then follow-ups should just happen naturally. But I still think this warrants underlining. After the original check, always follow up with a second, and preferably a third check. This is to lessen the likelihood of accepting faulty results once you're reality checking in the dream world. You see, your dreaming mind has a very different sense of logic than your waking mind. So it's far too easy for it to explain away why you have 6 fingers.
Oh, 6 fingers? Yeah, that's normal, mate. Remember I had that operation the other day to sew on an extra one.
By doing follow-ups, you're teaching yourself to doubt your mind's first knee-jerk reactions. You're teaching yourself to bring awareness to the forefront, to probe deeply, to never settle for faulty logic. In at number 3, we have keep them simple, as in focus more on the questioning of the check rather than the performance. By overcomplicating reality checks, you're giving too much importance to the check itself rather than what the check brings out of you. A reality check should be effective in its simplicity and never grandiose. The more complicated it is, the more baggage you have to transport between the two worlds, so keep your load light. Also, keep in mind that whilst you're learning, you're going to be reality checking in the waking world alone. Because of this, you need to make the checks waking world friendly. So, testing if you can fly whilst walking down a busy street isn't going to work too well, for example. You should aim to keep them simple enough that you can perform them subtly, without drawing too much attention to yourself. You also need to make sure that the checks will easily translate over into the dream world when they're ready to make the leap. Again, the more complicated they are, the harder it's going to be for the dreaming mind to bring them forth spontaneously. This is why the hand check and the nose check work so well for so many people. Because of their simplicity, they imprint themselves onto the habitual sectors of the mind relatively quickly, and once they're up and running in the dream world, they transition back and forth with ease. But remember, no reality check works universally. So as always, find what works best for you. And lastly, don't confuse a simple reality check with doing a simple reality check with a simple mindset. As I said before, always be thorough. Come at every reality check with a sharp, focused mind. In at number 2, we have mentally reality check, as in learn to reality check with nothing but the power of your mind. A mental reality check consists of thoughts and questions alone. No physical aids like the hands or nose are needed, so an example would be asking yourself questions like, where am I? Do I know this place? Who am I with? Do I know these people? What's the time? Where was I 30 minutes ago? What am I experiencing? Is this absurd in any way? Whilst in waking life, you should be able to answer these questions effortlessly. However, whilst in the dreaming world, you'll probably struggle, and that should trigger lucidity. Personally, I much prefer reality checking in this way. I'm often in the presence of people, so I don't particularly want to be checking my hands or plugging my nose in front of them. By learning how to effectively reality check in the mind alone, your checks can go unnoticed in the presence of others. Not to mention, once you're more advanced, these questions can always be lingering in the back of your mind. And in at number 1, we have do them regularly, as in, don't be slack. Frequency dictates whether or not a habit will form, so be relentless. Simply put, reality checking just once or twice a day is not enough. Aim for once or twice an hour instead. And if you're struggling to remember to perform them in the first place, then set up things to remind you. Alarms, desktop backgrounds, little sticky notes around your home, etc, etc. Also, get into the habit of doing them at consistent times, like just after you've woken up and when a dream sign appears. And as stated previously, don't pick and choose when you reality check. Just because you're in front of people, it doesn't mean you should stop. If you do regularly discriminate in this way, you're going to form a bad habit. And before you know it, you're going to be discriminating in the dream world too. As in, you will refuse to reality check in front of dream characters. And that's obviously a bad thing. So there we are. If you religiously stick to these 5 principles, reality checks will work for you. And before you know it, you will be regularly lucid dreaming. Well, I hope that helped. And for now, I'm going to say bye. Sleep well, and speak again soon.